He that scattered us will gather us. The so-called Juneteenth message that they will never teach you Zion. What? All right. You heard me on this Holy Shabbat. I said, he that scattered us will gather us. Every year around this time, our people all over these United States begin to gather together to celebrate a day that has been called Juneteenth. And I'm always conflicted. And the reason is because, number one, I hate that word teenth. As though we can't say teen. And then I hate the fact that our people have chosen to actually celebrate the fact of a wrong time, misinformation. We're not celebrating the actual Emancipation Proclamation, but we're actually celebrating the day years later, I guess. Something like that. When those in the South were still held in captivity long after the emancipation had been proclaimed. Both of them bother me because, number one, the fact that you just said teenth, that bothers me. And number two, the fact that you're celebrating the wrong day in order to solidify in the hearts and minds of the people such a negative event, such a horrendous and horrific. But nevertheless, our people gather and celebrate what's called Juneteenth. And over the last couple of years, I've been going to check it out. And this particular year, once again, I went incognito, unassuming, to blend in with the crowd. I sat on small picnic, what do you call them, little fold-out chairs, to see what our people felt like Juneteenth was all about. And as I sat there incognito, and I was able to observe the stage and the people that were in the crowd, what I saw was nothing but young people jerking, herking, and twerking. What I saw was ghetto rap, unsavory songs, ludicrous lyrics. What I witnessed was satanic rhythmic pulsations of drums and artificial intelligence being passed off. I was like, what's happening? And then I saw old people don't have a clue, for they too was joining in this show of almost, it was almost a show of how depressed, degraded, and dumbed down our people have actually become. And then I listened to those who made their way to the microphone. And the whole time, all I heard was foolishness. All I heard was repetitive platitudes, socially acceptable statements. All I heard was the same old. And the people, once again, like trained seals, as soon as they say something, you all know that we were, and then I'm like, boy, what is y'all saying? We must do this, we must do that. Yeah, I said, oh boy, I can't hardly take it. I can't hardly take too much more of this. Same old words, same old, quote unquote admonition. And I'm not saying that all of the admonitions was wrong. What I'm saying is, not one time, Zion, I want you to hear the more on this holy Shabbat. Not one time did I hear anybody open up the Holy Bible and stand before the people and declare to the lost sheep of the house of Israel that they have been scattered here because of our wickedness. That we have been scattered here because we turned our back on our holy Abba. And because of the very activity and wickedness that's going on today is what got us in trouble in the first place. None of that was said nowhere. And if you can see the moral ray all right, and you can hear me all right, place a 12 in the chat for the 12 tribes of Israel. Let me get a drink of water so that can settle in and sink in all over the world. I sat there and tried to take it. I tried to stand it. And finally, finally I took all I could take until I stood all I could stand until I couldn't stand no more. And I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I gotta go. What a waste of time. What a waste of an assembly. What a waste of an opportunity. And I was driving home. After I had told people, I'm out of here. I'm out. I can't do it. I was driving home and I felt like the Ruach HaKodesh spoke to me. That's how I felt as a seer. Now, this is just how I felt. I felt like he said to me, the reason why they didn't tell the people is because they can't tell the people. The reason why they didn't talk about the scattering is because they cannot talk about the scattering. And the reason why they didn't talk about the gathering, because they can't talk about the gathering. They are in and of themselves slaves. If they mention the Bible and the truth about who we are and whose we are, they will be fired from their job, fired from their church, fired from their community, fired from the sorority, the fraternity. They will be fired. Do you understand? They can't tell the people the truth. Their denomination will write them off. They will be gone. And not one of those people that you've ever heard are willing to give up any of the previous things I mentioned. Their sorority, their fraternity, their church, their denomination, their job, or anything on behalf of the people of Yah. Not one of them. So they on purpose avoid the situation, circumstances, and subject. And I said, woo, boy. And then the Most High was not done with me. He said, that's number one. Number two is, these people don't even know it anyway. They don't even know it. And I said, okay. And he said, number three, I didn't call them. I called you to be a seer to the house of Israel. And when I look at the house of Israel, from 4 years old, 3 or 4 year old children out here herking and jerking and carrying on, and people cheering them on, and they twerking and carrying on, and people cheering them on, and old folk is doing all manner of satanic debauchery and all that kind of stuff. I looked at them people and I was like, whoop. And he said, don't do that. Don't forget, it wasn't too long ago. You didn't know you was the house of Israel either. And then I start feeling it. I said, oh, I know what's getting ready. I know what he's getting ready to say to me. He said, I called you to do it. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu Dawid ben Israel, a seer in the house of Israel, called by Yah and set apart from my mother's womb for such a time as this. Separated from the so-called church, the so-called denomination, the so-called conventions, the so-called convocations, the so-called all of that, associations, and free to preach the Bible. Free to preach the truth. Free to teach you, Zion, the truth without worrying about the repercussion from a job or from a church or from a fraternity or a sorority or from some weird contract. No, when you hear the moral rate, you listen to a free man. And the way that I can do this, Zion, is because my teaching and my preaching biblically, the way I can do it is that I'm free to teach it like it's written, because I am not working for them. I work for Yah on your behalf. We asked you to support the work of the Awakening Remnant. Why? We're full time. We work for Yah. And in return, we ask everybody to give tithes and offering. To keep it. Everybody watching the Moreh doing their part. You will never hear me get online and be talking about, I just heard it the other day. Somebody got up and said, you got 10 minutes for one person in here to give $10,000. I said, oh boy, are we still doing those shenanigans? And the king about to return and we're still robbing the house of Israel? No, we're not doing that at the Awakening Remnant. We tell people, follow the Bible. Read about how you are as an individual. How are you personally supposed to support the work? Because you are. The principle is laid in the script. The principle is the 10th. The 10th is the part. Listen, I always tell people this. People say, well, that's a lot. No. It's not that the 10th is a lot. The 10th is the part you want. That's the problem. You want the part that he said give to him. You want the part that he said to use to support ministry and preachers and teachers like myself. That's the part you want to keep for yourself. But at the same time, you want us to stay on the battlefield, to stay in the classroom, to stay behind the camera and lights, and to stand behind the lectern and study and work full time. And give it to you. But no, the Bible says it's supposed to be an exchange. I give my life for this. I give my all for this. And in response, you take 1/10 of your increase. And you give it. And the Bible says if you give that 1/10, then the windows of heaven. First of all, he said, I'll return to you. And then he said, I'll open up the windows of heaven. And I'm going to pour you out a blessing. Well, we talked about this last night when we gathered. A few of us gathered last night. Well, sitting over Jazz's. Sitting in the corner of her backyard, which is small. And fruits and vegetables overflowing in that little area. And we were talking about how everyday baskets. She said, I can't call people fast enough. And all I'm saying is that led to a conversation about the tithes and the offerings, and it gave us a visible picture of what overflowing barns and overflowing baskets really is, right? And I said, on a small scale, we're seeing it here. But this is supposed to be happening on a large scale all over the house of Israel when they put Yah first in tithes and offerings. Yes. So I wanted to put that out, Zion, to support the work. And by the way, every single person that supports the work on a regular basis, not only do we want to say Todah Rabbah, which is thank you expanded, but also we want to let you know that we love you and we appreciate what you do. And when you don't give and you don't support, we feel it as a ministry. Why? Because only the remnant, which is you, are supporting us. We don't get support. We don't get support from YouTube. I know a lot of people see the moray and see how many subscribers we have. Oh man, he get money from YouTube. No, I'm not. You'll see that we're not even monetized. What? You letting all them views go to waste? No, I'm not. I'm keeping freedom so that I can teach and preach. I'm depending on you all to support, not advertisers, not denominations, not political parties, not fraternities, not sororities, none of that kind of stuff. No, no, no. The people that are being blessed are to be a blessing. So, Todah Rabbah for your support. Once again, I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu Dawid, and I'm Morey at the Awakening Remnant Coalition, affectionately known as the ARC. And on this holy Shabbat, I've been commissioned to talk to you all about the thing that nobody wants to say during Juneteenth. This is the message that they'll never teach you. But here at the remnant, here at the ARC, at the Awakening Remnant Coalition, I'm going to show it to you. Why? Because the Most High showed it to me. And I have to show it to you. What is that? The real message that should be taught during so-called Juneteenth. I hate that word. But this is the message that they won't teach. They can't teach it. But I can. I'm going to do it too. Why? Because the Most High said, I didn't call them to do it. I called you to do it. And so I'm going to do it. Hallelujah. 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 As a matter of fact, put a hallelujah 100 in the chat. And every single person, go and hit that like button right now. Yes. Got a message. I was one of the few times I was actually trying to figure out what's going on with my channel, what's going on with the ARC channel. So I asked a couple of questions and they said, make sure the people that watch the videos like the video. I didn't know how important likes were. He said, if you don't get a certain amount of likes, YouTube will not push the video. The algorithm will not push the video without likes. It's just not going to happen. So people say, well, I get it. But all the things that YouTube sent me, or all the things that they wrote down, every one of those things, I saw how that's affecting our channel. One, the lack of likes. Number two, the lack of shares. And number three, obviously the lack of subscriptions. But watch, not that there haven't been people subscribing, but that the new people that have not subscribed are not subscribing, even though they watch every single video. Can't wait till tomorrow. Come on and bring some teaching. So you got to hit the like button if you want this message to go. They call it, in our world, they say it's shadowbanning. But in reality, what it is the algorithm, because one, we're not monetized. They're not thinking about pushing the message. And number two, because I don't deal in controversy like, ignorant ghetto gossip and stuff like that, my channel is not going to be what they call one of the high priority channels. But it should be, because I'm teaching our people Torah. So yeah, instead of putting a number in the chat, how about you hit the like? Hit that like button. As a matter of fact, if you've already hit the like button, type it in the chat. Type in the chat, hit the like button. Yes. And I already told you I don't get paid for views. So you know it's got to be done for a different reason. We got to get this word out. And people need to know what's really happening in the world today. Administrators, I need you to get ready. All of you that's in the chat, I need you to help the administrators today. Why? We're gonna be in some verses, because I want to prove the fact that he that scattered us is going to gather us. And this is the message that they'll never, ever preach or teach on television, social media, or these gatherings. They'll never do it. You know why? They can't, but I can. So for our opening verse, let us go to Jeremiah. Of course, one of my favorite prophets. Jeremiah. We're going to go to chapter 31. And let us, Zion, look at verse number 10. Let's do that together. Jeremiah 31, verse 10. If everybody got that, hit the like button. If you already hit the like button, hit like in the chat. Jeremiah 31:10. Hear the word. What? Oh yes, it's Bible. Hear the word of Yahuwah. O you nations, and declare it in the isles of far off. All right? Declare what? And say. Here it is. Watch it. He that scattered Israel. Do you see it? Will gather him and keep him as a shepherd does his flock. For Yahuwah has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand. You better hear them all, Ray. What hand? The hand of him that was stronger than he. Did you see it? Yes, Yah delivered us from the hand of the one that was stronger than us. The story of the Bible, the story of the scriptures. I know some people don't know this, but the story of scripture is not simply a story of creation and sin, and what they say is the cross, which was really a beam, but that's a whole nother sermon. That's not really what the Bible is about. It's not only about that. But what is it, Moray? I'm going to tell you. The Bible is about a scattering and a gathering of his people, of Yah's people. It's about a scattering and a gathering. I need everybody to write that in the chat, that the Bible is also about scattering and gathering. You can even write it in the chat like this. The Bible is also about the scattering. I'm preaching, y'all. I have no idea how much I'm preaching. And the gathering. From Genesis to Revelation, we're going to find in the Bible that a major theme and a major truth and a major declaration throughout all of the scriptures is a covenant obedience. And this covenant obedience or covenant disobedience is revealed through the whole Bible. It's what the book is about. If you understand what I just said, that the book is about a covenant obedience and a covenant disobedience, that you're going to see it from Genesis to the Revelation, do what, Moray? Hit the like button. And if you've already hit it, type it in the chat, hit the like. If you know what I'm telling you is the truth, hit the like. From Genesis to the Revelation, the whole Bible, Yah declares that there will be a scattering of the people because of covenant disobedience. And then there will be a gathering of the remnant because of covenant obedience. It's the Bible. It's how it begins, it's how it ends. As a matter of fact, the reason that the scattered is going to be gathered, listen to me, the reason that the scattered will be gathered is because, this is what the Bible teaches, is because Yah is faithful to his side of the covenant. Did you hear me? Oh, on this holy Shabbat, I said there's a scattering and a gathering. But the reason there is a gathering of the scattered is really not just because of the scattered. No, it's because of the one who's in covenant with the people that are scattered is going to be faithful to his side. And his side of the covenant, we're going to see it in a moment, has in it the promise of the gathering of the remnant that he scattered. So let us look at the Bible on this holy Shabbat and look at the message that they never will teach you on Juneteenth, which should be the only message to be preached on this day. And the number one passage that we need to look at before we can see the gathering, we got to see the scattering. First, let us go. You know what? I was going to start in Deuteronomy, but I just changed my mind. I just thought about something. No, what we're getting ready to do is start in Genesis. Let us prove these things from the first book of the Bible. Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. No, we're going to start at verse 12. Genesis chapter 15, beginning at verse 12. You Israelites, and look, when I say Israelites, I ain't talking about no Europeans. Don't y'all put me in that category. I am not talking about no descendants of Japheth. I'm not talking about no Europeans claiming to be us. I'm not ever talking about that. I'm only talking about the actual biblical Hebrews of the Bible. I'm only really talking about the bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, so let's look at the text. And when verse 12, and when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And, lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon. Horror. What did he see? He saw our captivity. And I'm not just talking about Egypt either. Not only did he see Egypt, he was horrified at Babylon, horrified at Assyria. But there was no horror that overtook Abraham. There was no historical captivity that fell upon Abraham, or the horror of it fell upon Abraham, like what he saw in the slave trade by ships. When he saw that 400 years of captivity, when he saw the way we were on the bottom of them slave ships, and he saw his descendants beaten and whipped and raped and maimed, split apart by horses and hung from trees until dead, worked and whipped with whips across backs all day in the hot, humid, blistering summers of the South. When he saw the conditions, the horrifying scraps of swine flesh being fed to his descendants, when he saw them hungry and without, when he saw them separated, when he saw them used and abused constantly, not only the men, but the women and the children, he was horrified. And I want you to see the difference. This great darkness fell upon him, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surely, watch, that your seed, who? You're going to find out that's Israel, shall be a stranger in a land, watch, that is not theirs. Did you see it? If you saw it, hit the like button. And if you've already hit the like button, just type in the chat, hit the like. That's us. And that's here. And they shall serve them, wait, and they shall afflict them. How long? 400 years. That's here. I have a whole nother sermon online where I prove that these Americas, that the transatlantic slave trade fits this description, not Egypt. Egypt was not a 400-year captivity. It was not. When our people went into Egypt I'm talking about the actual brothers. Remember, Joseph was a Pharaoh at the time. He actually was Pharaoh in everything except name. Pharaoh gave him his ring of authority. When our people went to Egypt, they did not go into Egypt as slaves. So therefore, there was not 400 years of captivity, 400 years of servitude, 400 years of affliction. That did not happen until there arose a king who did not know Joseph. Y'all read the Bible like it's supposed to be read. You'll find out that no, they were only in captivity where they were actually captive and slaves in Egypt around 200 and something years. So what is this a prophecy of? It prophesied this day. It prophesied this time. It prophesied our experience after the transatlantic slave trade and the chattel slavery, which was really worse than cattle slavery, that our people were subject to for 400 years, which by any account, and I mean every account in the world, nobody will say that there was any captivity worse than the captivity of that transatlantic slave trade, which was really not a trading of slaves. It was really a trading of people. It was a transatlantic, what do they call it? Human trafficking. They were not trading slaves. They were trading Israelites. They were trading the house of Israel. They were trading the very people of the Most High Yah. They were selling us, and then they put us into slavery. They wasn't just buying and selling slaves. No, they buying and selling people. They capturing people, humans, the apple of Yah's eye, his chosen people. And they furthered the affliction. And that 400 years is important because the same so-called president of the United States of America today was in office when the 400-year mark came, and he presented a plaque. He presented a document. Remember, if you're the president of the United States, right, you are the king of the world, biblically speaking. You rule the world. It's the beast system. It's the biggest system. It's the world empire. When the emperor of the empire stands up with a declaration marking the 400 years, it fulfilled the prophecy to the letter. Now, if you understood that, hit the like button. If you understand that, type, hit the button. Hit the like. What do you mean, Moray? Hit the like, type it. Why? Because it's the truth. This is what they can't teach you, Zion. This is what you don't hear at Juneteenth. This is what you don't hear at at the inauguration. This is what you don't hear at the gathering. You don't hear this at the picnic. You don't hear this in the state capitol. You don't hear this out on the lawn. You don't hear this at the presidential library speeches. Preach more. And I sit there and watch that madness all day long. And people talking about all manner of what they consider to be inclusion. All kind of debauchery. All kind of he and she, and all kind of false gods and false doctrines and false hopes, lies, deceptions, platitudes, vain repetition. No, that's all you're going to hear. That's all they want you to hear. That's all they're going to give you to hear. But not at the awakening remnant. No, this is the reason they don't want me there. Because I would literally declare it is this behavior that caused our people to be scattered into the four corners of the earth, including this particular United States. It was this behavior that got us kicked out the Holy Land, our land, and into the land that's not ours. Our home is Holy Jerusalem. Now, we will have the world at one point, but I ain't going to do that right now. I will tell the people, this is the activities that y'all talking about right now is what got us into trouble. And if you all got that, once again, hit the like button. Hallelujah. 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 Verse 14. More, you ain't gonna do this all day. Oh yeah, we're gonna be here for a minute. I gotta teach the truth. Verse 14. And also, Bible, that nation, who? The one that enslaved you. The ones that you end up serving. What about them? Will I judge? You see it? You see it? This is what they can't teach you. They can't teach this at the Juneteenth celebration. Why? Because the sponsors are back out. See, the Juneteenth celebration is sponsored by Hennessy. It's sponsored by Bud Light. It's sponsored by Coors. It's sponsored by it's sponsored, by McDonald's. They got sponsors. It's sponsored. These activities are being sponsored by the heathen. Do you think the heathen is going to let these speakers get up and say, these very heathens that's sponsoring us, they are under judgment for what they did to us? No, they can't say that. Because if they do, they're going to lose their sponsorship. And next year, they ain't going to have nothing. And they're not worth losing. They can't stand losing that. I am not like them. And you all should be grateful that there is a voice that's free from that. So I can show you. I could preach this from the microphone, from the stages. And I have preached it all over the world, but I'm going to show it to you again. And that nation also whom they shall serve, he said, I'm going to judge them. Who? Yah. What you are seeing right now happen in this world, especially when you focus on the United States and all of the other nations that held us in captivity, you can clearly see if you open your eyes and don't use slave eyes. If you use redeemed eyes and free eyes, you can clearly see that this nation is not on the ascent, it's on the descent. It is not advancing. This nation is declining. You can clearly see that this nation ain't going up, it's going down. You can see that this nation is not being blessed, it's being cursed. You can clearly see that this nation is not prospering. No, this nation is going in debt. It's becoming more. I got a whole nother sermon on that too. Who do you owe? You heathens? Talk about your nation's in debt. To who? How the empire in debt? Oh, it's somebody behind the scenes that you don't want to tell us about. Yeah, I know who they are. They run this country. Why? Because the Bible says you held us in captivity. So now there is another group that's got you in captivity. Well, that's another sermon for another time. But if you all still rolling with the Moreh on this holy Shabbat, as we preach the Juneteenth message that the world can't preach, hit the like button. That's all. Y'all should know the routine by now. Hit the like. And if you've already hit the like, write that in the chat. Hit the like. We're going to beat YouTube at his little game to get these messages out. You got videos with 10,000 views and 150 likes. What's that all about? No, let's go on and get let's make the world hear this message. All right? Now, where are we? Okay. Let us look at these few points. Put this in the chat. Point number 1. The scattering was real. Put that in the chat. Number 1. Point 1. The scattering was real. Oh, yes. Point number 2. The gathering is promised. Once again, point number 2. The gathering is promised. And point number 3. The gatherer is Yahushua. The gatherer, the great gatherer is Yahushua. Do I need to go over them again? Point number 1, the scattering was real. Point number 2, the gathering is promised. And point number 3, the gatherer is Yahushua. Hallelujah. 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 Do you understand now why we have to ask you all for the tithes? Ask you for the offerings? So that this teaching can continually go out to the world unshackled, unfettered? That it can go out to the world with power and clarity? We're trying to help wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right, Deuteronomy 28. We hit Genesis. We saw the scattering. We saw the slavery. We saw the torment. We saw how tormented Abraham was over what he saw. Then the Most High put the 400-year mark on it, which meant that 400 would be important. Then 5,000 years later, this heathen get up with a plaque and say, it's been 400 years. You saw it. Go to Deuteronomy. We're more ready. 28. Everybody come go with the moon. Once again, what they can't teach you on so-called Juneteenth. Let us go to Deuteronomy 28. And let us start at verse 64. Write it in the chat. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. Everybody put it in the chat. And Yahuwah shall scatter thee. Whoa. Among all people. Stop. This cannot be African Egypt. So when people say, no, he only talking about Egypt, he only talking about Egypt lie. Because Deuteronomy 28, they had already left Egypt. If y'all understood that they were already out of Egypt in Deuteronomy 28. They're not in Egypt. That's behind them now. Whatever he's talking about here is future. If you can clearly see that, hit the like button. Just hit the like. If you've already hit the like, write it in the chat. Hit the like. Yeah, we can see that more, right? And Yahuwah shall scatter you. Where? Among all people. From one end of the earth unto the other. When did this happen? When were we scattered from one end of the earth to the other? Yes, the transatlantic slave trade. Those of you that are watching the Moray, 99.9% of y'all are watching me from the land of your captivity. You're still there. Some of y'all watching me, watch this, from the same state. Your ancestors, not just the country. Some of y'all in the same state where your ancestors were slaves. And some of y'all in the same county. And some of y'all watching the Moray are still living in the same city, the same town, where your grandmother and grandfather was scattered and put into slavery. Can you see that? A person asked me not too long ago, they said, how you know this is us? And I said, where are you? I can't remember when he said, I'm in Louisiana, or I'm in Texas. I can't remember where he said. I said, how'd you get here? Man, I guess we were brought over here as slaves. I said, oh, okay. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you go back home after the captivity? Why are you still here? And the answer is, we can't go home. Number one, you don't even know where your home is. That's all Bible. That's all prophecy. This is what I try to tell them on that whole Juneteenth thing. I may do something next year. Yeah, I may have an ARC-sponsored Juneteenth. Yeah, we might go find our own park. We might set up our own stage and grab our own microphone and declare to our community over here, these things, Zion, and fund it ourselves. Pay for it ourselves. We don't need the heathen alcohol sponsors. and the fast food sponsors and all that. No. You know what? The Awakening Remnant Coalition, we could sponsor it ourselves. We've been doing meetups all over the world. Why? So we can preach this truth to the people. This is how we got here. I'm reading it to you. And Yah shall scatter you into all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. And there you shall serve what? Other gods. Oh, man. You serving the heathen. You serving the European. You serving European images. You serving gods that which neither you or your fathers have known. Our ancestors didn't know these heathens. And you're worshiping wood and stone. Let's see whether or not this is our situation. And among these nations, this is all nations, that we were scattered, you'll find no ease. Ain't that the truth? There's not one nation that we were scattered that like us, that love us, that honor us and respect us. Even that Asian that I thought was cool with us, come to find out, they believe that we satanic, they believe that we the devil, they believe that we dirty. They cussing us out on social medias, shooting us in backs for taking water. Boy, they talking about us in all manner of languages, in all manner of form. Boy, I found out ain't no ease for us nowhere. Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. That means we're constantly in the rat race. We're constantly on the run. He said, but Yah will give you a trembling heart and falling of eyes and sorrow of mind. That's us. And verse 66. And your life shall hang in doubt. That means it's always in the balance. You never know if you're going to make it home. You're going to be in fear. What? All day and all night. Every day, every night. You have no assurance for your life. Which means what? The government ain't going to be for you. People ain't going to be for you. There'll be no assurance. You will live in a perpetual state of fear in these lands that you'll be scattered to, which is everywhere. And in the morning you will say, would to Yahweh, would to Elohim it was night. In other words, just let me get through this day. And at evening you will say, would to Elohim and morning. Why? For the fear of your heart, wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of the eyes which you shall see. I got so many videos on this verse. Well, one time, I literally put out a video. I can't remember the exact name, but I think in that particular video, I put almost 100 illustrations of chattel slavery. I put it out to the whole world to see. Nobody on planet Earth in the history of mankind been treated like this. Verse 68. And you shall, and Yahuwah, verse 68, and Yahuwah shall bring you again, shall bring you into Egypt. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, again. But this time with ships. Wait a minute, more into Egypt. What does that mean? Bondage. Captivity. This is not the actual physical Egypt. Again. Why? Because you don't need no ship. They're walking. There's no water between Egypt and Israel. There is no water. That Suez Canal is man-made. Our people walked. There is no, you don't have to take a ship to the physical Egypt. It's right around the corner. No. He's talking about you going into captivity, because at this time that land was called Mizraim. That's another sermon, but I just want you to understand something. He was not talking about getting on a boat and going back to where they were just walking from. And everybody knows it. I want to continue though. By the way whereof I spoke unto thee, you'll see it no more again. Said, man, look, I'm finna tell y'all something. And the whole idea of the way which is going to lead you to the promised land, when this happens again, they coming to get you with ships. And you will never, you're not going to get back. And this is where I tell the heathen, and I tell the slumber brews, and I tell the people all over the world, the fulfillment of the scripture is in us because we are still here. That's never happened. If y'all still rolling with the Maury, I know what I'm saying for some of y'all, because I know some of you looking at the Maury like, who is this preacher? Don't worry about who I am. Worry about who you are. I know who I am. I'm chosen of the Most High to show you the Torah. I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu that we've been in right here. Who I am is solidified. The question is not who am I, it's who are you? The question is not about what I know, it's about what do you know? You better ask the question about these scripts. You better seek the Most High while you can. Let us look at it. And Yahuwah shall bring thee into Egypt, which is captivity again, with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Now we're going to clarify something. We already know that the Egypt can't be the land of Egypt, because he says in verse 64, we're going to be scattered to the whole world. So then the whole world where we are scattered will become like Egypt to us by way of the bondage and the captivity. It's still in the Bible. Let's read it. And you shall see it no more again. I mean, you're going to be gone from the Holy Land. You're not going to go back. And there you shall be sold. What? Yeah. To who? Your enemy. If y'all clearly saw that, hit the like button. You'll be sold to your enemy, not your friend, not your counterpart, your compadre. No, you're not going to be sold to your associate or to your brother or to your father's house or to your cousin or to your friend. No, You will be sold to your enemies. Our enemies bought and sold us, not our friend. Our enemies bought and sold us, not our Savior. Our enemies bought us and sold us, not our deliverer. Not our Redeemer. No, these are our enemies that did this. Oh yes, Juneteenth message they can't preach. They can't preach this? Are you kidding me? Boy, that Southern Baptist Convention, boy, get you kicked out so fast, make your head, you'll be in court. How you know more, Ray? Because I taught this back when I was a pastor and ended up in court. That's why I know I'm not just talking to be talking. I taught the scripts. When I woke up to the truth, I was a pastor, had been pastoring over 21 years when the Most High showed it to me. So I started teaching the people the Bible. Nothing I know, boy, everybody left the church. Nothing I know, boy, I'm sitting before heathen judges. Person told me, if you want to win this case, you better lie. I was in court almost 3 years, 2.5 years, going on 3 years. They said, if you want to win, you better lie. Because if you don't lie, you're going to lose. And I did not lie, and I lost. But I won. Why? Because that case and that congregation is written, and it became street cred for me. That people will know, yes, he was actually drugged before the king, before the queen, before the magistrates, just like the book said, before judges, in courts. to declare, were you teaching the people that they were the house of Israel? Yes, I was. Absolutely. Were you teaching them that pagan and Christmas and Easter and all that was wrong? Yes, Your Honor, I did. 100. And I'm not going to lie. I don't need a lie to keep a job. So how about this? How about I tell the truth and then trust Yah? And here I am, 10 years, almost 12 years later, still breathing oxygen, still eating every day. I didn't starve to death. As a matter of fact, the more Ray is eating, I'm trying to lose weight. Still here. Because I decided that I was not going to allow even the heathen courts to try to get me to change the Bible. No, I'm a different kind of, I was called to do this. This is not a side hustle for the Moon. So let's look at it. Were you scattered to the four? Remember, verse 64 said, scattered among all people from one end of the earth to the other. So no, we're not talking about this one location, Egypt. They've already left there. You're going into all the world that will be Egypt everywhere you go. In other words, it'll be captivity and it'll be pain and suffering. And he says, and you're not going to see Israel or the promised land. And we are still here. And there you shall be sold to your enemies. We were sold for bondmen and bondwomen. So that's when we became their slaves. When they sold the house of Israel. They sold the apple of his eye. And then we became bondmen and bondwomen. And nobody redeemed us. In other words, we didn't have a person to get us out. And this is where, what time is it? Okay, you know what? We're going to do bonus time today. This is where this Juneteenth message must fall apart. That they keep teaching us. They keep talking about the fact of the proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation. So let's fix that on the Holy Shabbat. Emancipation and freedom is two different things. Write that in the chat. Emancipation and freedom is two different things. We were never granted by this government freedom. Because free people, listen to the more, free people don't have governments and legislation and all kinds of, they don't have that dictating their lives. Then you're not free. When the quote unquote founding fathers of this country, I want you to listen to the more. When they left England, talking about the pink Europeans, when they left England to come over here in order to turn the United States into a huge Epstein Island, where they could just do whatever they want every time, that's what they understood freedom was. They understood that freedom is, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I can beat people, rape people, kill people, maim people, take what I want. I can kill whole nations of people if I want. I can destroy as many natives that are here if I want. I can have slaves if I want. I can beat the slaves. I can sleep with the slaves. I can rape the men and the women and children. Nobody can tell me what to do. That's the mindset of the people that colonized this place. These colonies were satanic. I want you to understand that. So much so that when England tried to put a 2%, I think it was like 2.5% or 3%. That's all tax on these heathens. They started a freaking war. They literally strapped up and went to war, and they sunk them ships in that harbor because they said, man, we ain't paying no taxes. No taxation without representation is what they said. And it was only like 2 cents. They were like, man, we ain't gonna do it. Why? Because they understood what freedom meant. Freedom meant that I'm free. Can't nobody tell me what to do no more. And they understood that until recently. Because they went into captivity not too long ago. Boy, and now none of them is free no more. Somebody own this nation. Somebody is pulling strings. Because now, boy, the taxes is like, well, you make enough money, boy, taxes be 50%, not 2%. And ain't nobody fighting. Ain't nobody complaining. I mean, they complaining, but ain't nobody taking up, ain't nobody doing nothing. Why? Boy, they experiencing it. All they doing is crying. Prices are so high. It's your country. Bring the price down. I can't believe the housing market is out of control. It's your country. Why you crying? Bring the housing market. It's your country. I can't believe our money is going down. All right then, stop it. But you don't. You can't, because now you in captivity. Well, they get a taste of their own medicine. They don't understand it, right? I keep asking them, so who raising the interest rates out of control? Who's doing that? Ain't that you? Ain't this your country? Who's raising your interest? Well, who got you making these outrageous monthly payments? Who is the one that's working you and your wages are not matching inflation? Who's doing that? Because it's your country, right? Oh, so the reality is it ain't yours no more. You let somebody come in and take your country from you when in the beginning you were willing to fight to the death over 2%. Boy, you were letting old grandpappy, you letting grandpappy and them down. These heathens today. Y'all letting your grandpappy and your uncles and boy, you letting them down. They rolling over in their grave. Y'all gave up an entire country. And now look what's happening in the world. It's unbelievable. But anyway, let me go back. Oh, I was talking about no man will redeem you. So freedom, the freedom that the Most High, I should say this, the captivity that he mentioned obviously was a captivity where they would be stuck. And no human was going to buy them. And that has to do with purchasing them out of the captivity. What you got was an emancipation proclamation. You didn't get freedom. You didn't get freedom to do whatever you want. You didn't get freedom. You don't even have the freedom to leave the country. You have to apply and ask permission to leave the country. You have to get what's called a passport. A free person don't use passports. A free person goes wherever they want. I don't have to ask nobody for permission to travel the world if I'm free. I just go. See, y'all don't understand that because you don't get freedom. You can't drive your car without a permit, without a license. You can't build a chicken coop on property without somebody's permit. That means permission. If you're always asking for permission for something, you ain't free. You're emancipated, which simply means you're able to walk around. You don't have to live necessarily on the plantation anymore. You can literally go get you a piece of property across the street, but I guarantee you that property is never yours, because if you don't pay taxes on it, if you don't pay taxes on that property that you buy, Even if you bought it for $1 million and the taxes is only $15 a year, if you don't pay that $15, they will come and take your $1 million property. Now that ain't no free person. But again, this message is just not about that. I'm trying to show you something that you went, the proclamation was not a proclamation that actually freed you. So then that makes I'm trying to use a more simple word. That makes Juneteenth a double psychological whammy. Because the original Declaration, Emancipation, that original Emancipation didn't give you freedom. And neither did the message that came to our people that were in captivity, I think in Texas. Neither did the message when it reached them a couple of months or years later, neither did that free you. So this is the message that they're not teaching you at Juneteenth. You are still in captivity. You just in an open air prison now. And you've been told what to do and how to act. But I got some good news, and we'll go out on this note. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. The scattering was real. How do you know more? That's my first point. The scattering was real because we're here. The scattering is real because even after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, we're still in the land of our captivity. And we don't have a home that we can go to that's our own, and no nation or no people that we were taken from, not one time did they come over and fight to deliver us, nor did they take their silver and their gold from their nation, because they keep talking about we came from Africa, right? When did we hear about the Africans getting gold, silver, and other precious metals and putting it on ships and then going across the sea to the Americas and saying, look, we want to buy my brother out. I want to buy my sister. I want to buy my dad out. When did that happen? You want me to wait? Boy, you'll be waiting until the cows come on. When is the last time they got all their money together to buy their brother and their cousin out of captivity? When? Show me. You can't. It's nowhere in the Bible, nowhere in history been the African, and I looked at how big Africa was. Boy, it'd have been easy to do it, but they did not. They didn't even try. Why? Because nobody's going to redeem us. No, that redemption is going to be by Yah. Let's prove it. The scouting was real. Chapter 30 of Deuteronomy, verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, what? The blessings and the curse. If you see it. He knew that. Not only will we experience the blessing of Deuteronomy, he said, but y'all going to go to that curse. I can see it. He said, which I've said before thee, that thou shalt call to mind where? Among the nations. Did you see it? Hit the like button. We helping the whole world. Did you see it? Hit the like button. If you saw, literally it says we're gonna wake up as a scattered people. We're not gonna be already gathered back into the land when we wake up. No. In the land of our captivity where we are today, he said that's where you're gonna wake up. And biblical prophecy to the letter is this is where we're waking up. You're going to call them to mind, all nations, whether Yahuwah have driven thee, and thou shalt return. What? Unto Yahuwah your Elohim. And what? And shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart. Did you see that? That's the remnant he's talking about. That's us. This is the message that's supposed to be taught on so-called Juneteenth. That we are to turn back to Yahuwah this day, and all of our children with all our heart and with all our soul, that then, watch verse 3, Yahuwah, your Elohim, that's who your Elohim is. Yeah, you don't have King Chucky. You don't have a European white pink savior. No. I don't care what they paint on these pictures and what they put on the wall, what they put in the Bible, what they put on YouTube. I don't care about none of that. I'm showing you who our Elohim is. Our Elohim is Yahuwah. He's going to turn our captivity. See it? And have compassion upon thee. And will return and, you see the word? No way. Is that really in there? Yes, I'm showing you. He's going to gather you. Where? From all the nations where Yahuwah has scattered thee. Once again, proving that Deuteronomy 28:68 ain't talking about African Egypt. If you can clearly see that, Zion, hit the like. If you can clearly see that, if you just keep reading the Bible, you can stop all this arguing with these heathens talking about that already happened. No, this didn't already happen. This didn't happen in Egypt. We didn't go back to Egypt. Josephus never wrote down, we got on ships. The heathen put ships into the writing of Josephus. Josephus never mentioned ships. You type in what Josephus said about us in captivity, he never ever said we went into anywhere on ships. They just made that up because they did not want you to know about the ships or the transatlantic slave trade. I'm trying to tell you. That's the Egypt. Because it says here, you've been driven to all the nations. When were we scattered to all the nations? Only one people have ever been scattered to all nations in the world, and that's us. And I told you, I was on chat and I was just asking questions. What are the chances of a nation fulfilling this Deuteronomy? And it said, just fulfilling 3 things was 1 in 1 billionth of a chance. And yet here we are, scattered through the worst of the captivities, still in the land. But it says, y'all gonna turn that captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you, here it is, watch, from all the nations where the Yahuwah has scattered you. And if any of thine be driven out to the utmost parts of heaven. What? Yeah, he said, from there will Yahuwah, your Elohim, gather you, and from thence will he fetch you. And Yahuwah will bring, your Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed. Did you see it? He's going to do it. And he will do thee good. What? Yes, and multiply you above all your fathers, and Yahuwah your Elohim will circumcise your heart. That means for him. And the heart of thy seed to love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And then what? Verse 7. And Yahuwah will put all these curses, what? Yeah, on your enemies, and on them that hate you, which persecuted you. Did you see it? This is not Egypt. It's the same. He's repeating after Egypt. He's repeating what was told to Abraham. If you saw that, hit the like button. If you already hit the like button, type in the chat, hit the like. See, we put things straight here at the Awakening Remnant because we read and study the Bible. We don't let heathen pull us because we don't have, like, my mind as a leader and as a seer, I was told to read the Bible thousands of times. When you start to read the Bible thousands of times, what happens to you? Your eyes start opening and you see the Bible as a complete book. You don't just see bits and pieces no more. One verse here and one verse there. No, it starts to become an entire story. So when people always try to say, well, that's talking about this or that's talking about that. No, let me tell you something. He's telling you four corners of the earth and all over the world and to the farthest places of heaven. This is why I make a joke about this, but I'm not making a joke. It's reality. You can't get no further than where I am. If I go west, just a little while, I'm in the ocean. Do you understand the more, right? And if you look at a map and see how far I actually am from Jerusalem, that I actually am from the Holy Land, from the city of David, Bethlehem, see how far I actually am. You will say, wow, how did he wake up? Promise. There's no boundary under heaven where he can't reach his people. And this is what's supposed to be taught during so-called Juneteenth. And then you got to tell this heathen, and everything that you did to us, and all of the suffering that we went through is coming on you now. Not because of us, but because of what y'all did to us. Y'all ain't playing with his people. So now let us put some verses in here so I can get out on this holy Shabbat. Israel, the house of Israel, which is us, was promised that we would not stay in the land if we disobeyed, and we did disobey. We broke the laws, statutes, and the commandments. We broke the covenant, and as a result, we were eventually scattered to the four corners of the earth, and we did serve our enemies, and we were bondmen and bondwomen, and it was for 400 years. And we did wake up to the truth after the 400 years, and no one to this point has ever bought us out. And we are still in the land of our captors today, even though there was an Emancipation proclamation. Whether they told it to you then or whether they're trying to teach it to you now, you are not free. We ain't home yet. But I got some good news. The Bible also said we ain't staying in our land of captivity forever. What? Yeah, we got deliverance coming. Administrators, you'd be so kind. I need you to put these verses in the chat for me. And I need everybody in the chat to hit that like button. 26:33. Leviticus 26:33. You ready? It says, and I will scatter you among the heathen. You see it? That's where we are. And will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate and your cities waste. When you look over what's going on in that land today, it fulfills this prophecy to the letter. Verse 34, Then shall the land enjoy her Shabbat, as long as it lies desolate, and you be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land have rest and enjoy her Shabbat. Jeremiah 9. Jeremiah 9:16. We're going to go faster now. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 16. Listen to this. I will scatter them also among the heathen. This is Jeremiah. Whom neither they nor their fathers have known. What? Echoing Genesis to the letter. Echoing Deuteronomy to the letter. And I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. This is Yah talking about scattering us because of our disobedience. Next book over. Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 12. I'm going to start at 14. And I will scatter toward every wind all that are about him to help him and all his bands, and I will draw out a sword after them. This is the Most High, talking about what he's going to do to us if we broke that covenant and rebelled. And he did it. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah when I shall scatter them among the nations. There it is again. And disperse them in the countries. That's what happened to us. And we still here today. Luke, let's listen to the king. Luke chapter 21. Now we way on the other side of Babylon, right? So now we know it can't be African Egypt. The heathen lied about that. And we know that he can't be talking about Babylon because the Messiah is talking, and this is after the Babylonian captivity, hundreds of years. So where are we at now, Moray? Luke chapter 21. Verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Remember, he said, I'm going to bring a sword after you. In other words, when the Most High said he's going to bring a sword, he was saying that he's going to allow the heathen to come in with swords. And he did. That sword, that sword that he's using is the satanic heathen. It's the wicked heathen. That's why he said, after I use him, I'm going to destroy him. Let's look at it. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. You see it? And shall be led away captive. There it goes. Okay, so how is this Babylon? Oh, it's not. How is this Assyria? Oh, it's not. How is this African Egypt? It's not. So what is this? This is our captivity. This is a future captivity. It says, and they shall be led away captive into all nations. That was us in them ships into what? Every nation. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. That's what they're doing to our holy city as I speak. How long, though? Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, which is now. Yeah, it's 400 years afterwards. He said, then I'm going to judge. And there shall be signs in the heaven, signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then they shall see the Son of Man. What? Coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draws nigh. Yes. The problem, the truth of the Bible is, the book is about us. The prophets repeatedly testify Israel's going to be removed from their land, scattered among the nations, lose their identity, become a byword and a cuss word. They'll be beaten, raped, killed, hung, all that. All the scriptures, so much so, the scripture actually said, I didn't get to all those verses, but the scripture actually is going to say that they will completely lose their identity. They won't even know who they are. The ox will know his owner and the ass his master's crib. But Yah's people won't even know who they are, and they won't even know who they are. And the most tragic truth is they won't even care. Now, if you understand the moral, as I work my way to a conclusion, if you understand the moral, hit the like button. If you already hit the button, right, hit the like in the chat. Ain't this coming crystal clear? So here is the tragedy. The tragedy is that the sheep did become lost, just like he said. Our kingdom was divided. Just like he said, our tribes were dispersed throughout the world, just like he said. Our people forgot who they were. Now, all that happened in the scattering. You can't appreciate where we are in time unless you're using the right timeline. You can't appreciate what's going on in the world right now unless you read the Bible and find out what's actually going on in the world right now. And the timepiece of Yah is not that European. Everybody keep acting like we don't even exist. That European is not the time clock. We are. If you want to know about history, you got to follow the house of Israel. You got to follow our plight. You have to follow our lives. You have to follow our history to know what time it is. Therefore, the idea of celebrating an Emancipation Proclamation when we still in captivity, celebrating an Emancipation Proclamation when after the Emancipation Proclamation was given, we were not paid. There was no reparation. There was no return to our homeland. And actually, and I know this can get into something deeper, actually you were never set free. You were given liberties. You basically ended up in an open air prison. Oh, I wish I had time. Most of us after that ended up sharecropping. You should look that up. Number 2, that was just point 1. That was just the scattering was real. But the next 2 points will go faster. The second point is that the gathering is promised. The scattering is real. We still live in it. But the gathering is promised. What does that mean? It's coming. Oh, more way prove it. Listen to me. The gathering of his people is not going to be accidental. It's not going to be haphazard. It's not going to be like magic or something. That's not what's going to happen. The gathering is prophesied as much or more than the scattering. Oh, right. Okay. I'm a doctor. I've read the book 1,000 times. I'm telling you the truth. I don't even have to really talk much. I could just read these verses. All you have to do is think about us scattered. Watch. Go to Isaiah. Again, I just told you about Isaiah chapter 1. But let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. Let's see if it can be any more plain than this. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which will stand for an ensign of the people. And to it the Gentiles shall seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass that in that day, oh, by the way, that's our king. And it shall come to pass that in that day that Yahuwah shall set his hand. What? Again, the second time. It's Bible. All this is Bible. To do what? To recover the remnant of his people. He's going to get us. It don't matter what people think. I'm showing you Bible. He's going to recover his people, which shall be left. Where? From Assyria? Oh yeah, Assyria ain't got the last say. He's coming to get us from there. He's coming to get us from Egypt. He's coming to recover his remnant from Pathros and from Cush. What? Yes, his remnant is in Africa and Egypt. And from Elam. And from Shinar. And from Hamath. Wait a minute. And from the islands of the sea. Yes. He's coming to get us from the whole world. That's the whole prophecy. He's going to gather the scattered. Watch this. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the house of Israel. Now watch this. And gather the dispersed from Judah. Wait. So he's going to get Israel. Yes. Because they got scattered first. But then he says, and gather the dispersed from Judah. That's the house of Yehudah. So where are they going to be? From the four corners of the earth. Same exact prophecy that talked about scattering to every nation, all nations, every nation under heaven, all of the nations to the four corners of the earth. Then he says, but he'll also gather them. Where? And where is Judah going to be? Four corners of the earth. Where are we right now? In the four corners of the earth. This is not just a possibility. This verse is not talking about a suggestion or just some kind of hope. Like, oh, I hope this happens. No, when we read this book here, this is our covenant. This is a divine promise. You understand what that means? Yah promised it, so it's coming to pass. And he's doing it now by waking us up to the truth. This is what we should be teaching the people about true emancipation, the true proclamation, the true deliverance, the true rescue, the true redemption that's coming very soon from our Elohim. That's coming from our King. Let me give you some more verses. If y'all understood that, if you understood that perfectly clear, hit the like button. Why? Teaching going on. Share the message, subscribe. Pay your tithes and your offerings. Help us, support us as we put these messages into the world that other folk can't do or can't do because they don't know it or because their handlers won't let them. Let them free. Hold on. Let's do some biblical calisthenics. Jeremiah 23:3. Come on. I told you administrator's going to be working today. Jeremiah 23:3. And I will gather. See it? And I will gather the remnant. And put it on here if you don't know I'm reading the Bible. People ask me sometimes, man, what Bible is he reading? The Holy Bible. And I will gather the remnant out of my flock, the remnant of my flock out of all countries, not just one, whether I have driven them, and will bring them again to their fold, and shall be fruitful, and they shall be fruitful and increase. Watch. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them. That's us. I'm one of those. Because we're feeding the people Torah, not man tradition, not church dogma, not camp doctrine, which is the doctrine of demons. No. I'm teaching Torah. This was a promise. I'm actually in the Bible. I will set up shepherds over them which shall feed them. So what happens when we feed them the Torah? Here's the answer. They shall fear no more. Why? Because we got a king. We don't fear no more. We getting up out of here. Nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says Yahuwah. For behold, the days come, say Yahuwah, I'm going to raise unto David a righteous branch. Who is it? A king. And a king shall reign and prosper and shall execute judgment and justice on the earth. In his day, Judah will be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he shall be called. Watch this. Yahuwah, our righteousness. That's this day. The day is coming. All right. Jeremiah 29:14. More, it's in there more than once. Yes, of course. Verse 14. I marked it for you. And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity. And I will gather you from where? Here it is again. From all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, says Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place where I cause you to be carried away captive. You coming back home. Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36, verse 24. I'm just giving y'all, I'm putting a line by it. I already got it highlighted in my Bible. You see it? Let's read it. For I will take you from among the heathen. Where are we going to be in the last days? Among the heathen. And where are he going to take us? From among the heathen. And will gather you out of all countries. You see it? Don't let the heathen tell you that that's Egypt. He a liar. The Bible said we're going to be in all countries. And I will bring you into your own land. Verse 25. And I will sprinkle clean water upon you. And you shall be clean from all your filthiness. And from your idols will I clean you. And verse 26. And a new heart will I give you, and a new ruach will I put within you, and will take away that stony heart out of your flesh, and will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my ruach in you, and cause you to walk. That means be alive. And cause you to walk in my statutes and keep my judgments to do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your forefathers, and you shall be my people. And I will be your Elohim. Do you see it? This is not being taught from these microphones, these podiums, these rappers, these twerkers, these herkers and jerkers. Boy, all of this wicked ghetto rap music, all this drill, murdering one another music, all these heavy satanic beats that carry with it all manner of Satanism and debauchery. And that is what we are celebrating, our freedom during so-called Juneteenth, being supported by all manner of wicked heathen dollars. Is that really what it's about? Boy, I'll be in my study sometime, and then I come out of the study and go into a public gathering. I feel like, I ain't saying I'm him. I feel something like when Moses was on the mountain, he confirmed with the Most High Yah, talking to Yah, and he come down the mountain and he said, man, go down there and look at your people, see what they're doing. And you go down there and look at the people, and you like, I know they're not doing that. I know they're not celebrating. I know they're not celebrating their freedom, and they're still in captivity. I know they're not celebrating their so-called emancipation with more sin and more debauchery and more satanic activity that got them in trouble in the first place. Yeah, sometimes I feel like that. I feel like, what am I supposed to do? And then that's when he tell me to preach. You do what I called you to do. What is that? Tell the people that they're supposed to be gathered unto Yahuwah, to turn to them, to be washed and cleansed from the filth, from the wickedness, from the idols of wood and stone. We're not supposed to be going deeper into wickedness. We're supposed to be coming out of wickedness. Just because of time, I'm going to put these verses in. Ezekiel 37, verse 21. Ezekiel 37, 21. I say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. You see it marked in my Bible again. I'll mark all these verses. Among the children of Israel, from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them where? To their own land. Why? Because nobody's going to do that but him. The gathering is real. Micah. I never did finish this book. I started teaching through Micah. Never finished. That's all right. It's okay. Micah chapter 2, verse 12. I think everybody's starting to get it now. Micah chapter 2, verse 12. I will surely assemble, O Yaakov, all of thee, and I will surely gather the what? Remnant of Israel. And I will put them together as the sheep of Bozrah, as the flock in the midst of their fold, and they shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. What does that mean? He said, I'm coming to get my people. I know they're scattered, but I'm going to gather the remnant of them. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 20. I'll mark it too. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 20. I'm going to read the whole Bible. I done told y'all. I tried to tell you this in the beginning. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 20. See, your pigment-eating preacher, the reason why he can't do this is because, one, he does not know this. It's an indictment, but it's a fact. They can't see us as the house of Israel scattered, even though they're scattered. They don't see us being gathered, even though I done read to y'all, I don't know how many verses, I should have counted them. Verse Zephaniah 3:20. No. 19. Zephaniah 3, let's start at verse 19. Behold, at that time, I will undo all that afflict thee. Everybody that touched you, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill them. Don't worry about that. I'll undo all that. They're done. And I will save her that halt and gather her that was driven out. That's us. And I will give them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. That's us. Every place we went to, put to shame. He said, oh, don't worry about that. I'm going to change all that. I'm going to ruin the ones that put you in captivity, and then I'm going to make them, I'm going to turn all your shame, it'll be turned to fame and praise. At that time, verse 20, will I bring you again? There it is. Even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise, what? Among all the people of the earth. See, right now you're on the bottom. The stuff I'm teaching and the stuff I'm preaching, it's the majority of the people watching me is so far over your head because you refuse to see who the real house of Israel is. But it's easy for me to see it. One, I don't have a slave mind. I can see it. It's easy to see it. When I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith Yahuwah. This is not, he ain't talking about an Emancipation Proclamation. He's talking about actually getting us out of captivity 100%. I was talking to Javon the other day. Me and Javon, and I started getting touched. I was talking to him, and I think Yaron was around too. And I said, we don't even know what it is to have our own fig tree and our own vine. But we're under our own fig tree, eating our own figs and our own vine, drinking our own wine, watch, on our own land that is not owned by somebody else. It's our land that can't nobody take from us. Ain't no taxes on that land. There's no heathen that can snatch it from you. They can't come get you out the house. None of, you don't know what that's like. But the remnant gonna know. Because we're coming out. And we're gonna have real freedom. Once Yah gathers us, he says, and I'm just write these down. My voice starting to go, so I got out the room. Watch. He says, notice the language. Notice the language. I will gather. Yahuwah. This is Yahuwah. He said, I will bring. Listen again. Yahuwah says, I will recover. Our king, Yahuwah, says, I will assemble. Yahuwah said, I will take. And Yahuwah says, I will restore. Listen to him. Listen to our king. Listen to the word of Yah. He says, I will gather, I will bring, I will recover, I will assemble, and I will take out, and I will restore. Which means if we're looking for our true restoration, it's not coming from our slavers. It's not coming from the captors, the captivity. It's not coming from none of these Europeans. It's not coming from no Hamite. It's not coming from them. No. Our gathering, our bringing home, our recovering, our assembling, our being taken out of the nations and our restoration will not be built upon some European contract that was signed between two European powers. That's not how we getting home. Y'all say he's going to do it. If y'all with that, hit the like button. That's all I'm saying. If you understood that, hit the like button. That our gathering is not going to be dependent upon man. That's one reason why I keep preaching the way I do. Because I'm trying to show you. You keep saying, I can't see it. And it don't matter whether you can see it or not. Because it's not going to be humans that do it in that sense. It's not going to be like a particular nation that's going to be sympathetic toward us. And then all of a sudden, we are now following like, say, Chucky or Vladdy or Pootie Poot or little Donnie or little Johnny or little, a little BB. No, none of those people are going to deliver us. And for sure, none of these pig-meat-eating preachers and pastors, none of them, they ain't finna help us. That's not where it's coming from. We were scattered because of the judgment of Yahuwah. And it will be the mercy of the same Yahuwah that scattered us that's going to gather us. I realize I'm out of time, but I got to give you the third point. Once again, I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu Dawid Ben Israel. And I know some people, how is he preaching like this? Teaching like this? With boldness, with verses to back up what he's saying. Oh yeah, and not random, systematic. I was called. And this is the reason that you should support the work of the Ark, because I'm full-time. Not just me, but the Ark is a coalition. And we're working every day to try to get these messages and these teachings out to the world. And we don't have support from anyone else but you. Think about that. How vital and important you are to the kingdom. If you understood that part, hit the like button. Or hit the like in the chat. My last point is our gatherer is Yahushua. He's the gatherer. All right? The scattering, that was promised. So was the gathering. But watch this. Who's going to do the gathering? Who's going to get us? I got news for you. It's not going to be a European. It won't be a pink person that was born, that they mythologically born in Bethlehem. No. Our king sprung up out of the house of Yehuda. He's from the 4th tribe. He's from the household and lineage of King David. He does not come down through Japheth. So this idea that you keep looking for a European savior is when you look there, what you're seeing is European slavers who have created gods that are not biblical. When you actually study the Bible, that you're not going to be looking at slavers. No, when you see Yahushua, you're looking at our Savior. In the Bible, and I know people don't understand this, but it's okay. I'm just putting it out there so that you can study it. In the Bible, he is called our kinsman redeemer. Preach more. But he's also our kinsman avenger. So not only is he going to avenge us, vengeance is mine, said Yahuwah, I'm going to repay it, but he's also our kinsman redeemer. So he redeems us and avenges us. Again, this is what the European don't never teach, and he has made sure that don't no step and fetch a preacher preach this either, that there's two sides to our redemption. Yeah, you keep talking about people say, well, I've been redeemed. Yeah, but the redemption's got two sides. There is the redemption, and then there's the avenging. He's gonna avenge. He's gonna redeem us, and then he's going to destroy those who put us in captivity. He's gonna save us and destroy the enemy. He's gonna save us, the remnant, by redemption. And then he's going to avenge every tear, every drop of blood, every pain, every byword, every cuss word, every lie, everything that was done to us. He even wrote it down, and he's going to take it out on the world. And the penalty is going to be so deep that the blood is going to rise. The punishment will be so deep. The blood of his vengeance, the blood that's going to take place as he takes vengeance for us, is going to rise to the horses' bridles. This is what the Bible is teaching. In other words, our King is coming to gather us. Now, my time is almost up, but people don't believe that either. Why? Because when he came here, he took upon the form of a servant. I didn't get a chance to get to that in my lesson. I'm going to do that next week. But when he came here, he took upon the form of a servant, but he wasn't no servant. He took upon the form of a servant and became obedient. But he didn't to Yah. But watch. Just because he had the form didn't mean that he was one. Because he was really our king. He was born king. And the Bible says when he came here, he said of his own mouth, I came to seek and to save that which was lost. Let's go to St. John, chapter 11, verse 52. Oh yeah, we put it all in one message on this Holy Shabbat, on this Juneteenth. Giving y'all verses from Genesis to the Revelation. John chapter 11, verse 52. Let's start at verse 51. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, who is this? Caiaphas. He prophesied that Yehoshua should die for the nation. Watch. And not for that nation only, but that he also should gather together in one the children of Yah. You see it. That were what? Scattered abroad. Who is that? That's us. Y'all can see it, huh? The scattering. He didn't just save the Israelites that was living in Jerusalem at that time. No, that's not because that wasn't the promise. The promise is that he would gather all of us, even those that have been scattered. And we've been talking about that scattering for almost 2 hours now. People keep talking about individual salvation, and I understand that. But when you read the Bible, it's the salvation of his remnant. It's the salvation of those that were scattered through the slave trade. It's the salvation of the remnant. Matthew 24, verse 31 clearly says, and he shall gather together his elect, his chosen, his people, Mark 13 and 27 says, and he shall gather together his elect. Hosea 1, 10 and 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together. Acts chapter 15, verse 16. Then I will build again the tabernacle of David. Ezekiel 34, 11-13. I will both search my sheep and seek them out. Why? Because they've been scattered. So who is doing this? It's our King. If y'all could hang in there for just a little bit longer, hit the like button. If you've already hit it, right, hit the like in the chat. You want to hang in here just a little bit longer. And that is, what is y'all doing? What is your Hoshua doing right now? He's using me as a vessel of his to call his sheep. Isn't that something? A person who was a pastor 16 years ago and have been a pastor for over 20-something years, he's now calling me to go back and tell those people and to tell his sheep that we are the house of Israel. Isn't that something? And when people watch the videos and they read the message and they follow along and they put the verses, their eyes begin to open. That's Yahushua opening eyes. When people all over the world that have been scattered through the slave trade and come up under all manner of religions all over the world, and all of a sudden they shake it off and wake up to their true identity, that's him waking them up. And as we begin to gather all over the world, people watching me, I like these kind of, I get emails. The ARC, of course, we get emails all the time, and we try to read them all and try to answer them all. But some people, they don't write for answers. They just write to give a praise report. And I had no idea how many people all over the world on Shabbat and during the week, but on Shabbat, they gather, think about this, to watch the Moreh on the Shabbat. I didn't say they come in to teach. They gather around and say, all right, this is our teacher. He's going to teach us. And then after I finish, they discuss it. Ain't that something? So who you think is doing that? Me? No. That's the Most High Yah that have people going through these verses and looking at them. This is Yah finding his lost sheep all over the world. We get letters from all over, literally. Places y'all have no idea. Places you didn't even know there was Israelites. But we've been scattered to the four corners of the earth. So therefore, the awakening that's happening, think about this. We live in a time where I can be sitting behind cameras and lights and talking to someone in Trinidad. I'm behind cameras and lights talking to someone in Tobago. I'm behind cameras and lights talking to somebody in China. I'm behind these cameras and lights talking to somebody in Russia, in Germany. Man, Luke and them over there in France. Shout out to Luke. No, really, I'm just saying. Then we got people, I got people watching in Canada. We have supporters in Canada that have never actually sat in front of the Moreh at one of our meetings. But watch. Almost every nation in Africa have at least watched one of our videos. And some of them have watched it repeatedly. All over the continent, not country, continent. And then when you look at South America and all of the islands, from Jamaica to the Virgin Isles, all through there, in the Philippines, everywhere, this message of the ark is going out, and people are waking up to their identity. And I'm trying to share with you all that ain't me doing it. I'm obeying him, and he is reaching the scattered through this modern technology. And it's unbelievable. He's seeking out his sheep. And we are his people. And we are the sheep of his pasture. And we are being gathered. And this is what is not being taught on so-called Juneteenth. They out there committing all manner of wickedness and saying and telling them people things that they ought not, and they are reinforcing a slave mind and a slave mentality. Instead of teaching the people what true freedom is, that he who Yahuwah, he who Yehoshua has set free is actually free indeed. Yeah. And I want to say one thing to the heathen, because I found out we got so many sneak listeners, which I'm telling you, you invited, so you don't have to sneak. You can hit the like button too, you know. In the Bible, there are verses, I just didn't get to them today. There are verses that talk about Gentiles being saved with the remnant. Not without the remnant. Gentiles being saved with the remnant. And I know these campers told you that's not true. They're going to hell for that. Just understand that. You can't get into the kingdom standing at the door telling people they can't get in. Those are the Pharisees and scribes that the Bible mentions, that he said they won't go in, and then they block other people from entering in. Woe unto them. Woe means you're going to hell when you hear that in the scripture. Woe unto you who do this. Woe is another way of us saying ove, which means you're going to hell for this. All right? So let's just understand that. We don't teach that at the awakening remnant. Why? Because it's not biblical. We only teach what's in the Bible. Based on the scriptures, those who become the house of Israel through accepting our king, our people, and our covenant, they also will have a right to the tree of life that Abba Yah is blessing us to have. Why? Because they have joined us. And they are not against us, but they are for us. They give tithes and they give offerings just like us. They keep Shabbat just like us. They pray just like us. And I want to put this out to the world, and I know some people are going to get mad. But let me tell you something. I'm talking about from experience. If it was a survival situation, and I had to maybe just pick 10 of y'all to survive with, I hate to say it, but all of y'all, my top 10 ain't gonna just have Israelite bloodline descendants. No, I gotta find some of the companions that know how to start a fire with nothing. That know how to build a whole village. Boy, they can get water from desalination out the air. I need that kind of fertile. I need one of them survivors, dude. I need one of those preppers. Yeah, we gotta have preppers. Because some of you Hebrew Israelites, boy, you don't want your hands to get dirty. You don't want to break a sweat. You don't want to have to suffer. You don't want to have to forage. You don't want to have to build no huts in those safety places. You don't know nothing about no bunkers, no ventilation systems. You don't know how to smelt no metal. You can't make a knife. You can't make a weapon. You can't do nothing. You can't even make a rope or nothing. Now, if I gotta pick the top 10, believe me, all 10 ain't going to be of the brownish hue. No, I'm going to be looking for some of them in the remnant. I know we got some of them who can track. What that mean, more, right? They can look at the ground and tell you what that animal is and where he is and how long he been here and how far they are away and all that kind of stuff. You Israelites can't do none of that stuff. Most of y'all. So no. In a survival situation, all I'm saying is I ain't finna tell a Gentile he can't get in. That ain't in the Bible. No, he got some skills and learning that we might need in these last days. So you're welcome. The only thing I got to tell you is you can't come in here, though, boasting against the natural branches. That's what you can't do. All right. My last verse, you know what? The last verses that I'm going to give you are going to come from the book of the Revelation. Just write them down. The very last book of the Bible that we have is called the book of the Revelation. This is the book that sums up the whole Bible and talks about how it began and how it's going to end. It's the summation of all the scriptures, and it puts everything in its proper place. I'm just going to pick out one theme and give you the verses, and then I'll bid you farewell. The theme that I want to pick out is the gathering of his people. Don't you see it? In Revelation chapter 7, verses 9 and 10, he said, after this, I beheld and, lo, a multitude which no man could number. Where are they coming from? Here it is. Out of. That's really what it means. All nations. Not all nations. But remember, he talked about he's going to get us out of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. This is where we were scattered. This is talking about the house of Israel primarily, who were scattered into these nations. And as a result, we all speak different languages. Just like me, I was scattered to the Americas, and I was scattered by the heathens in the slave trade. This is the reason that I'm speaking English today instead of my native tongue, Hebrew. So I'm in this group here. Do you all see that? If you do, hit the like button. Which no man could number, all right? This is one of the clearest gathering passages in the book of Revelation. The scattered people are now being assembled. It's the promise fulfilled. Revelation 7 and 4. I heard a number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes, watch, of the children of Israel. 144,000. Of who? The tribes of Israel. Which again echoes Ezekiel 9 and Ezekiel 37. We also see the fulfillment in Isaiah chapter 11 that I read earlier. Revelation 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Who are these people? Which keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yeah, this text is another one. The remnant exists all the way to the end of time, which is right now. And the gathering will never be complete until we all get together. Revelation 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. Do you see it again? Revelation 14, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for you to reap. The picture is, before the actual destruction of the enemy, we are rescued. We're cut and delivered, and then the destruction of the world. We Revelation 19:6. The marriage supper. Blessed are they which are called into the marriage supper of the Lamb. What does that mean? The bride is assembled. And when the bride is finally assembled, the gathering is complete. Once the gathering is complete, we go in to sit down at the table and we eat with him and we live with him and we reign with him over 1,000 years. Script. The faithful are gathered from every nation, every tongue. Why? Because that's where we were scattered. And the last thing, well, I got a couple more verses. Let me just go and give them to you. When you read the Bible about heaven itself, the city, you're going to find out that it has 12 gates and it got 12 foundations and written on for the 12 tribes of Israel and the names of the apostles. It's the picture that we'll be restored from every place of the earth. Revelation 21, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. In other words, we go to the New Jerusalem. Who? Revelation 22:14 answers that. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they have a right to the tree of life. And then your pastor said, you ain't got to do the commandments. And this is the New Testament. This is Revelation. Blessed are they that do his commandments. And then the preacher say, you ain't got to do the commandments. And that's stupid. That they may have a right to the tree of life and may enter into the city. Why? Because it's the covenant. The gathering of the remnant who are faithful to him. This is how the book ends. The way the Bible ends is that those that were scattered to the four corners of the earth, that were never ever bought back or redeemed, but left in the lands of their captivity. They remain there until the remnant wakes up to the truth. And those that are scattered are then gathered by the king. He gathers them, brings them to himself, and then following that, he destroys everybody that touched them. And they inherit the tree of life. They inherit the Holy Jerusalem, and they live with him forever and ever, while those who killed and persecuted them and enslaved them, they end up in the lake of fire, burning with fire and brimstone. They go with the false prophet. They go with Hasatan. They go with the beast. They go with the dragon. They go into perdition. They're cast into hell, and then hell is then thrown into the lake of fire. And that's how the Bible ends. And this is the message that is supposed to be taught during this time. What? The message that they'll never teach you and no Juneteenth. But the Moray will teach it to you, because you need to know. What is that? You need to know that it ain't gonna be long and we're going home. If you understood what I said today, put a 1 million in the chat. Hit the like button. Support the teaching and the preaching of the Awakening Remnant Coalition. How? Through tithes and offerings. You learned something today. You saw the script. You got a complete list of verses. And it's more. Because of time, I had to get to the end. You should support a work like this. Independent. sold out to the King, standing on truth. The one that scattered us, he's going to gather us. And we're going to be with him forevermore. Until next time, keep looking up. Because our redemption draws nigh. Shalom.